Hey everybody, in this video I'll be playing Frostgrave's The Minefield scenario, which will be the 10th battle for my Frostgrave 2nd edition campaign. Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, the channel that plays tabletop games using toy bricks and blocks and discusses the rules and strategies to build the foundation for those games. The Minefield scenario is the 10th new scenario from the Frostgrave 2nd edition rulebook, and facing off in this battle will be Frappuccino de la Mocha, the Sigilist, against King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. These two warbands last faced each other in the Treasure Phantasmal scenario, where they were both chased off the table by wraiths. For this battle video, I've tried something a little different with how I'm showing my battlefield setup and my warband deployments. So let me know in the comments what you think of it, as I'm just trying to experiment with some different techniques with filming and editing. And now, let's get to the bricks and blocks of Frostgrave 2nd Edition's The Minefield scenario. This battle sets up like a standard game of Frostgrave. Then, 20 markers are placed on the board in a grid-like fashion. I'm using orange Lego studs, and these represent landmines left over to guard this dilapidated area of Felstad. I did place some of these out of the true grid pattern for strategic purposes, guarding some of the main walkways and alleys. At the end of every turn, one of these will randomly explode. However, to make it more chaotic and show off the special rules for the scenario, I've decided that if a player rolls a 1, 2, or 3 on an initiative roll, an additional mine will explode at the start of that turn. Any figure within 3 inches of a marker when it explodes has to defend against a +3 elemental shooting attack, and 10 bonus experience points are earned for an apprentice activating within 3 inches of a marker, and 20 experience points are earned for a wizard that risks this. 4 small constructs start on the board, one at each corner of the minefield. The central treasure token is placed as normal. Then the 4 other treasures are placed 6 inches from the center, forming an X from that point. Frappuccino won the initial dice roll-off and decided to set up on the left side of the table. He has his Crow Master with his Crow and his Barbarian here. Their goal is to try to get to the treasure token over here that's guarded by this construct. Their Demon Hunter is hoping to climb some terrain to find a vantage point to make good use of his new magical crossbow of +1 damage. Then they have their Treasure Hunter with her +1 fight dagger, their new Apothecary that was upgraded from a thief, Ryder the Apprentice, Frappuccino himself, and he is carrying a scroll of Time Walk, their Infantryman, and their 2 men-at-arms. Their men-at-arms are going to try to take out the construct that is in this ruined building, while the rest of this team just charges towards the center, hopefully trying to use Telekinesis to move some treasure tokens closer to them. The Knights of the Round Table are set up over here. They've got their Black Beast of Arg and Patsy the Thief, who are both planning to come over here to fight off this construct. Sir Bedivere and Tim the Enchanter are planning to head toward the middle and possibly get a vantage point to throw grenades and shoot fireballs, while Brave Sir Lancelot and the Black Knight plan to charge towards the middle looking for some combat. With this group, Brave Sir Robin and his Minstrel plan to just charge forward trying to get to a treasure token, while the Rabbit of Carbonog is hoping to lunge at some of its enemies' jugulars, and then King Arthur and Sir Galahad plan to just charge forward and try to recover the Holy Grail. Initiative for the first round goes to Frappuccino. Frappuccino will start out the game by group activating with his Infantryman, and the Infantryman will move right up here, and Frappuccino will follow him. Then Frappuccino will cast Push on the Infantryman. Casting on a 10, failure by 7, he will let that fail, taking 1 damage. Then the Infantryman will make his second action to just move. He was hoping to get pushed all the way down this alleyway so then he could be closer to some of these other treasure tokens. King Arthur down here will activate by himself and cast Possess on the White Rabbit. On a 12, he fails by 7, and he will take 1 point of damage as well. After that failure, King Arthur will make a move over to here, and that puts him within 3 inches of this marker, so he will gain some experience for activating next turn if he doesn't blow up. To the apprentice phase, Ryder over here will group activate with the treasure hunter, and he will send her down here. They've kind of changed up their strategy after seeing what Frappuccino attempted, and now Ryder is going to attempt to push the treasure hunter this way. And actually first he'll make his move, or else he won't be able to make a move, to right here. On a 10 with a -2, so his casting penalty brings that to a -1, meaning he failed that by 11, taking 2 points of damage. I was trying to find out in the rules if you can get a negative result on a roll. I didn't see anywhere where it said you can't, but if I got this wrong, let me know in the comments below. Then the treasure hunter will finish her activation by moving within an inch of this construct, and then it will snap into combat with her. Next, Sir Bedivere will activate by himself and attempt to cast Possess on Sir Lancelot. On a 12 with a -2, that is a 1. That is a failure by 11. These spellcasters are not doing well with their spellcasting. And after taking those 2 points of damage, Sir Bedivere is going to run up here next to his king, and he is now also within 3 inches of that marker there. To the soldier phase, starting with this detachment of soldiers here, the Crowmaster is going to run right over here. Then his crow is going to run over here to be able to activate with Ryder next turn. And the Barbarian is going to double move just far enough to get into combat with this construct. Then their Demon Hunter will run up this ladder. On a double move, he can get to right there. Then their Apothecary is going to double move right here. Then to their 2 men-at-arms, starting with this one, he will run over to here, getting within an inch of this construct, so it will come over and snap into combat. And then the other men-at-arms will double move into combat with the construct as well. To the Knights of the Round Table, they'll start with having brave Sir Robin charge over here towards this construct. He'll get to right there, which will make this construct turn and step into combat. Then Patsy the Thief will double move around all this to engage in combat there as well. Then the Black Beast of Arg on a single move can just barely, well, fit through here, but just barely get into contact with this construct, so it will attack with double support. The Beast of Arg is a +8 against +1. Double critical failure. Nothing happens there. After that amazing show of combat prowess, Tim the Enchanter is just going to ignore all that and run over here on a double move. And then the Black Knight is going to run over here towards some of this. And then these 4 remaining soldiers will just start running down here to start getting close to the center of the table. So Sir Galahad takes cover behind this tower, and Sir Robin takes cover behind his minstrel, and the rabbit is right there getting ready to charge forward. To the creature phase, we'll start over here since this battle has already begun, and the construct will attack Patsy because he's got the fewest health. With support, Patsy is a +5 against +1. And he loses 13 to 14. He takes 4 points of damage. Next, we'll go over here, where this construct will attack the treasure hunter because she has fewer health. With support, she's a +6 against +1, and she gets a 22. She's using her dagger, but even with the -1 damage against 11 armor, that is 10 damage. The first construct of the game goes down, and now over here to this ruined building, I randomly determined that the construct will be attacking this man-at-arms. With support, that's a +5 against +1, and that is a 12 to a 12, so they both win. The man-at-arms has 12 armor, so no damage, but that is 1 point to the construct. And then to the final construct, right up here in this tower, it can actually see this combat. That's the only thing it can see. So it'll move 6 inches down here, but then from there it can see the rabbit, and it can move 3 inches back, and the rabbit's going to go ahead and snap into combat. And that is on a double move, so the construct's turn is done, and the turn is done. To determine which mine is going to blow up, I am going to be starting my counting there with 1, going across to 5, and then 6 through 10, and so on. And we've got mine number 9. And 9 is going to be this mine right here, so it's going to hit all 4 of these figures. It does hit uncontrolled creatures as well. And one thing I'll point out, these 2 figures are in combat. Normally shooting attacks are randomized if it affects creatures in combat, but it says every figure, so we're saying every figure. We'll start against the construct. It's a +3 attack against his +1 defense. And that is an 18, causing 7 points of damage to it. Against the rabbit, +3 against +3. The rabbit defends. Sir Robin, +3 against +3. Sir Robin, that's a 21. He takes 10 points of damage and he's wounded. And the minstrel, +2 against +3. He defends that. That mine is removed from the board, and a future result of a 9 will be re-rolled. Initiative for the next turn. And it goes to King Arthur, but we have a 1, and I said on a 1 to a 3, we would be blowing up another mine. That is going to be mine number 17. 17 is this mine right here, so no one is around that, so no one takes any damage. King Arthur will start out activating by himself, and he is going to run down here in front of the minstrel. He'll hug that wall and then attempt possess again on the rabbit. On a 12, failure by 10, man. King Arthur takes 2 points of damage, bringing him down to 12. And then we'll go over to Frappuccino to see if he has any better luck with his spell casting. He's going to run right over here on a single move, and from there he is going to cast Telekinesis on that treasure. On an 11, alright, they finally cast a spell. He can't quite move it 6 inches, but he can move it right over to here till it hits that wall. Sir Bedivere will activate by himself. So now both spellcasters have gained experience points for activating by those mine tokens. He'll move to right there and launch a grenade at Frappuccino. Casting on a 10, with a -2, he'll empower that for 3. Frappuccino has yet to improve his fight stats, so he's a +2 against +3 here. And he takes, that's a 21, he takes 11 points of damage. Luckily, he has been increasing his health, so he still has 6 health left. He's not quite wounded yet. For Ryder's turn, I was going to have him come over here and cast Telekinesis to move that over here, but I didn't take into account that his other soldiers would be there. So he's going to move right over here behind the treasure hunter and attempt push again. On a 10 with a -2, he got it that time. The treasure hunter has a +3 against a +10 attack on the gray die. And that is a 26. That would push her 15 inches, but it's just going to push her right over here. So that'll push her right up against those stairs. And then to the soldier phase over here, they'll start by having Sir Lancelot attack the construct. With support, it's a +8 against +1. But the construct wins with an 18 against 10 armor, dealing 8 damage to Sir Lancelot. Next, the Black Beast of Arg will try its luck. Again, +8 against +1, and it gets a 15 with +2 damage. That deals 6 damage to the construct. Then it'll push itself out of combat and work its way around here to there, and then the Black Knight is going to run in and try to take out this construct. With support, it's a +5 against +1, and that's a 16. It deals 4 damage to the Black Knight. So now Patsy, nearly wounded, will try his luck. He's also a +5 with support against +1. Alright, that's a 21. With the -1 damage for the dagger, that is still 9 damage. It goes down. Then Patsy will run around here past the black beast into contact with that treasure token. I was going to have Tim use his ring of teleportation to go up there and then fire, but he wouldn't be able to use an action to fire. He could only move after using that ring. So instead he's just going to run over here to where he's got a clear shot at the treasure hunter and fire an arrow. He moved, so that gives the treasure hunter a total of +5 against +2 shoot. And the treasure hunter defends. Since Brave Sir Robin is reduced to 1 action, he's just going to run over here to add support against this construct. Then Sir Galahad is going to run around here, and he will attack with double support. That makes him a +7 against +1. That is a 17, dealing 6 points of damage. And it still has 1 health left. So now the minstrel will squeeze in here. He can just barely fit in there, and then he's got triple support, which is the maximum support bonus. So he's a +8 against +1. And that is a 20. That is enough to take that thing down. And with that thing falling, that gives the rabbit free reign to run over here and come into combat with Frappuccino. I don't think the Sigilists thought this through very much. Luckily it's not possessed, but it's a +3 against +2. And that is a 20, dealing 10 more points of damage to Frappuccino. And the wizard falls. Well, this apothecary had hoped to get to Frappuccino in time, but that's just not the case. We'll run over here to these two. We'll have this man-at-arms attack. +5 against +1. And that is an 18, causing 6 damage to the man-at-arms. And the other man-at-arms will attack. And he fails also. That's an 11, doesn't get past the armor. Well, with those two soldiers tied up there, this infantryman is going to run up and seek revenge for his fallen wizard and attack. +3 against +3. That's 21 against 21. It's +2 damage from the two-handed weapon. So that's exactly 10 damage to take out the man-at-arms, and that's 13 damage on the rabbit, so they both go down. Then the apothecary, seeing all this carnage, is going to run up and pick up this treasure token. Checking for a monster spawn. Nope. And with their leader down, the Sigilist team has kind of changed their strategy. This barbarian is going to double move over here. They're going to work on just trying to get some treasures off the board here quick. The demon hunter is going to run over here, and from there take a shot at the black beast of Arg with 1 piece of intervening terrain. He moved, but the beast is large, so it gets a total of +3 against +2 shoot. And definitely defends that. Well, since that didn't work, they're going to send their crow flying through here, all the way over here, to get into combat with the black beast of Arg. It's got a massive 13.5 inches on a double move. Then the crow's master will run over here and pick up this treasure token. We'll see if a monster spawns. No again. To cause some more distractions to the Knights of the Round Table, this treasure hunter is apparently wearing a wig. She will come over here and engage Tim the Enchanter. And she's going to go ahead and attack him, +4 against +2. And she gets a 16, so with -1 damage for the dagger. And Tim's staff, meaning he takes 1 less point of damage, he just takes 3 points of damage on that. She puts her wig back on and stays in combat, and then we move to the creature phase, which is over here. The construct will attack this man-at-arms because he has fewer health now. +5 for the man-at-arms against +1. That is a 20 against 12 armor. That's 7 more damage. Can't do math. That's 8 more damage. He was at 6, so he goes down. These constructs are beasts. End of the round, we'll see which mine blows up. 15. 15 is this one over here by Sir Bedivere, and he is just within 3 inches. He does have 1 piece of intervening terrain, though. With the terrain bonus, he's a +4 against +3, and he defends that. Initiative for the next round goes to the Sigilists. Since Frappuccino over here has fallen, King Arthur will go first, and he is going to activate with all 3 of these soldiers. He'll start out by throwing a grenade at the barbarian. Casting on a 10, success. There's no intervening terrain, so it's a +3 against +4, and the barbarian defends with a 20 total. And Arthur's fairly formidable in combat with a +5 fight, so he's just going to run over here and jump into combat with the barbarian. And with the barbarian distracted, the minstrel can run past him and can just barely get into combat with this apothecary on a double move. Sir Robin is going to run over here to stand by this treasure. He can't pick it up because he's wounded and reduced to 1 action. But Sir Galahad is going to run over here and pick up the central token to see if that's the Holy Grail. First, we'll check to see if it summons a monster, and it does. Across and down, 18 and 4. A dreaded wraith shows up on edge 7, which is King Arthur's side of the table. It's right there, and they can see through terrain. Wanting to get some treasure off the board, Ryder is going to activate with this Crowmaster, and he is going to run over here and try push again. And I just realized their casting number is actually 8 for this spell, not 10. But he's got a -2, and he makes that. This will be the Crowmaster. This will be the push spell. It's a 15 to 8, so against 11 armor, that pushes him only 4 inches. That'll push him to right there, and then since he's activating with the spellcaster, he can then move over to here. His halved double move gets him to there. Sir Bedivere will run through this doorway over to here. And from atop that ice outcropping, he's going to launch a grenade over here by Ryder. On a 10 with a -2. He got that with a 12. +3 shoot against +0 defense. But luckily Ryder defended that. For the soldier phase, we'll start by jumping clear down here to see if this man-at-arms can finally break free from that construct there. He's a +3 against +1. And he does not. The construct wins, but doesn't get past the armor. I'm beginning to think it was a really bad choice to send soldiers in there to try to take out that construct. Next, the Demon Hunter will climb down this wall and come over here to sneak up behind this minstrel and attack with support. The Demon Hunter is a +4 against +2. And he gets a 14, so that wins. He does do +2 damage, and that's against 11 armor, so 5 damage on that minstrel. Bards have 12 health, so he's down to 7. Next, the Barbarian is going to attack King Arthur. The Barbarian is a +4 against +5. And he wins with a 19 and +2 damage. That is 11 damage on King Arthur. He's carrying a 2-handed sword, not a staff, so that doesn't reduce any of the damage. He's down to 1 health. Then we'll jump over here to the Apothecary, who will attack the Minstrel with support. Apothecaries have +1 fight in 2nd edition, but he's carrying a treasure, so he's -1. But he's got support, so it's a +2 against +2 here. And he wins with a 16. It's -1 damage. That does still cause 4 points of damage to the Bard. That leaves the Bard wounded with 3 health. The Apothecary will push out of combat and then do a single half move over to here with his treasure, of course. And then last for the Sigilist's turn, we will have the Treasure Hunter attack the Enchanter. +4 against +2. That is a 20 with -1 damage. That is 7 total damage on Tim. He is down to 2 health. The Crow will choose to do nothing for its activation. Moving to the Knights of the Round Table, Sir Lancelot will activate and can just barely get into contact with the Crow on a single move. And he'll attack. Because it takes a Barbarian and a Giant Beast to take down a Crow, this is a +6 against a +0. And that's a 20 against 18. So the Lancelot does win, but if he had rolled low, that crow would have actually killed him because Lancelot's down to 6 health currently. So the crow goes down, which then frees up the black beast to run over here and engage the barbarian and attack with the support of his king. This is a +6 against +4. He wins with a 10. It is +2 damage, so that's 2 points of damage on the barbarian. Next, Patsy will pick up this treasure token. Does a monster spawn? Yes. This will be a cross and down, 17 and 1. And these two will show up on edge 11, which will be right here in front of me. And armored skeletons are pack hunters, so they will activate together. And then Patsy will carry his treasure around the corner here, which will put him right there. And then the Black Knight is going to run over here to attract the Wraith to him. Tim over here is going to choose not to activate and just sit in combat to distract the treasure hunter from supporting Ryder or anybody else. And then the Wraith, since they can see through and walk through terrain, will run over here, float over here through this wall on a double move and get into combat with the Black Knight. And then, of course, to the epic battle over here, that construct will attack the men-at-arms with a +1 against a +3. And the men-at-arms finally deals some damage. That is 19 against 11 armor, causing 8 points of damage. So that 8 points of damage puts the thing down to just 1 health, so he's still tied up. He could push it out of combat, but since constructs are never wounded, it would then use its second action to move back into combat. And I almost forgot about these guys, and in true bricks and blocks gaming fashion, the monsters at the edge like to roll to randomly move to the edge. So this one will just move here, and that's all they'll do. We'll see which mine blows up. Number 10. 10 is this one down here by the minstrel's tassel from his tambourine that apparently fell off. So that one blows up, doing nothing. Initiative for the next round goes to the Sigilists. And I almost forgot that with that 3, I'm saying that makes another mine blow up. That'll be mine number 18. 18 is this one right here in front of Sir Lancelot, so that will hit him. It's +3 against his +4 defense, and he blocks that. So once again, that causes things to jump over here to King Arthur, since Frappuccino has fallen. And Arthur will activate with Sir Galahad and the Black Beast of Arg, and he'll start with having the beast attack the barbarian. It's +6 against +4. And the beast wins with a 14 and +2 damage. That's 6 damage on the barbarian. And then Sir Galahad is going to take this central treasure token and run over here. Then King Arthur will attack the barbarian. With support, he's a +7 against +4. And that's a 15 with +2 damage. That is 7 more damage. And I'd almost forgot that King Arthur was wounded, so he had a -2 to that roll, so the barbarian lucked out and he is down to 1 health. So next we'll jump over here to Ryder's turn, and he is going to do a single move down here by these stairs. And from there he is going to cast Explosive Rune right here in this alleyway. And I should point out that Ryder did start next to within 3 inches of one of these markers, so he will get some bonus experience for that. Casting on a 10 with a -2, that is a 2. He'll empower that for 8, bring him down to 6 health. So the Explosive Rune pops up there, and then we'll go over here to Sir Bedivere, who will attempt to cast Possess on Sir Lancelot. On a 12 with a -2, he got that. To the Sigilist soldier phase, once again we'll see if this man-at-arms can take out this construct back here. +3 against +1. And finally with a 20 against a 19, barely. This construct finally goes down, and he is going to do a single move around here. And he can get to right there. Then the Apothecary will activate and will come right over here next to Ryder. right there, and then use his healing potion on Ryder. That gets Ryder up to 11 and puts him in line to hopefully get pushed towards the edge of the board here. Speaking of edge of the board, this Crowmaster can run off the board with this treasure token. Over here at the front of the table, the treasure hunter will attack the wounded tracker. +4 against +0. And she wins with a 17 with -1 damage against essentially 12 armor. The tracker takes 4 damage. He was down to 3 health, so he goes down. Then the treasure hunter will run through this doorway, and it comes out the other side. I wanted her to avoid this marker, but she can't really get anywhere over here that's less than 3 inches from it, so she will move to right there. Over here to the center of the board, the barbarian will just stay in combat to tie up the king and the black beast. This demon hunter, though, will attack the wounded minstrel. This is a +2 against +0, and he gets an 8 with +2 damage. Doesn't get past the armor. And the demon hunter will just stay in combat. He won't try to push his way out. We go over to the Knights of the Round Table's soldiers, and Robin's going to run away this way, bravely with his treasure token. Patsy over here will also start running away, bashing his coconuts together and moving over here. Then brave Sir Lancelot will run over here. He can just barely get into contact with this wraith on a single move, and then now that he's possessed, he essentially has magical attack, so he will attack with the Black Knight. The possessed barbarian is +6, +8 total with support against +2. And he gets a lot, 23, +2 damage, 10 armor and 6 health. It goes down. Since neither of these two warbands are out here to just slaughter their opponent, King Arthur's plan is to try to get the Holy Grail, which they've got a clean line of sight to get that off. And Frappuccino just wants to grab 2 or 3 treasures and make it off the board. There is some possible deaths that could happen here with this barbarian and possibly with this minstrel. But these warbands are going to decide to call a truce and let each other go, letting that apothecary get off the board with that treasure token, letting these soldiers over here make it off the board with those treasure tokens, and we'll call it a game there. For the Sigilists, with some poor spell casting at the start, their men-at-arms both of them getting kind of hung up, fighting that construct, and then the loss of Frappuccino meant this battle didn't go too well for this team, but let's go ahead and roll some survival checks. For the Crow, he is wounded. For the Infantryman, he is fine. The man-at-arms, he is dead. That construct took him down. For Frappuccino, here's where it counts. 9. He manages to go unscathed. For after-game spells, the Sigilists will try to make scrolls of Time Walk, starting with Frappuccino on a 12 with a +1. He got that, and Ryder with a -1 essentially. Failure there. So one more scroll of Time Walk that they'll give to Frappuccino. For experience points, the Sigilists get 10 for 2 failed spells that cause damage, 50 for 5 successful spells, 10 because the apprentice activated next to one of those markers. Frappuccino never got the chance to do that. They defeated 2 constructs for 10, and they retrieved 2 treasure tokens for 80, giving them only 160 for the battle. Combined with the 80 that they had, they've got 240. They'll spend 100 to increase their fight stat so that they can maybe survive a little bit, and to lower their telekinesis casting number down to 10. For their 2 treasure tokens, they got a 11 and a 20. The 11 is just a magical item, and that is a 9. That is a Ring of Will, which isn't too exciting, and their 20 was a Grimoire and 120 gold crowns. For their Grimoire, this is a cross. This will be down. They got 14 and 7. And that is a Grimoire of Beauty, which is in the aligned school of illusion. So if they ever get enough experience to start learning some more spells, maybe they'll learn that. And since they're in a treasury, we'll see what they find in their base. A 7, that is just 7 gold crowns. Frappuccino replaced their fallen men-at-arms with a new knight. They checked out the black market, but there was nothing there worth buying, so they decided to keep their Ring of Will and bank 301 gold crowns for their next battle. Except for a few failed casting spells at the start, King Arthur's team was able to capitalize on Frappuccino running to the middle of the board and falling, which led to a quick battle and then retrieving 3 treasure tokens. They did have 2 soldiers fall in combat, so let's check their status here. Tim the Tracker is fine, and the Upside Down Rabbit is badly wounded. For after-game spells, they have a right scroll now, so they will try to scribble something. King Arthur on a 16, big failure, and Bedivere with a -2 to that, so no scrolls there. For experience points, they had 3 failed spells that caused damage for 15. Surprisingly, they only cast 4 successful spells in that battle, which was less than Frappuccino's team, so that gave them 40. Both the apprentice and wizard started within 3 inches of a marker, giving them 30 there. They defeated 2 constructs and a wraith for 15. 3 treasure tokens for 120, so 220 for the battle, plus 130. They'll use 100 to increase their health, 100 to lower the casting number of Possessed so that they can hopefully cast that more frequently. And they have a Grimoire of Strike Dead that they're going to go ahead and learn so that maybe they can couple that with their new Right Scroll spell. For their treasure rolls, starting with their central treasure token, a 10. That is 40 gold crowns and a magic weapon or armor, so they will choose to keep that and not re-roll it. Then their 2 basic treasures, an 8 and a 2. The 2 gives them a d20 times 10 gold crowns, so that is 110 gold crowns. The 8 they rolled is another magic weapon or armor, so we'll roll both of those here. A 10 and a 5. Those rolls got them a magical 2-handed sword of +1 fight, which they gave to Sir Lancelot. They also found a magical crossbow of +1 shoot, but since none of their figures use crossbows, they'll sell that for 250 gold crowns. Combined with the gold crowns they found, the 70 that was left over in their vault, and 20 that they got for their base, that left them with 490 gold crowns. They visited the black market, but nothing there interested them. Their Rabbit of Carbonog, which was badly wounded, will have to sit out their next battle, leaving them 1 soldier down as they continue their searches for the Holy Grail. This scenario was pretty fun. I liked the randomness and danger that the mines brought to the battle, and how it affected where you end up placing your soldiers so that they stay out of the blast radius of some of those mines. If you're playing this battle and your games typically tend to be short, I would recommend you do something like I did, where you have an additional rule to allow additional mines to blow up, just to create some more action on the battle. During that battle, Frappuccino made a critical error by running to the middle of the board unguarded, which led to him falling in combat. And between that and his 2 men-at-arms being practically useless for the whole battle, it kind of undermined their plans and just left the team scrambling to get off the table. And now Frappuccino is actually my only wizard who has not learned a new spell in this campaign. The Knights of the Round Table were able to achieve their goal of securing the centralized treasure token, but they weren't able to really capitalize on the mistakes of their opponent. They had some failed spells near the start, and they weren't able to really get their combat going. They did find the magical sword that they were able to give to Sir Lancelot the Brave, but their Rabbit of Carbonog finished this battle badly wounded. Finishing up this battle brings me to the end of the 10 new scenarios from the Frostgrave 2nd edition book, but I will be continuing my campaign through some of the other Frostgrave material that's available. I'll also be changing up the format of my battle videos somewhat, and I'll be releasing a video that will explain why I'm doing that and which material I'll be covering, and I'll be linking that in the description box below once it's available. If you notice any rules I got wrong or have any questions about my gameplay, let me know in the comments below, as my goal with these videos is to create an accurate representation of how to play Frostgrave 2nd edition. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click like, add a comment, or subscribe so you can keep up with all the content that I'm releasing. And with that, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and I'll see you on the next video.